Hello, I am Kristen and welcome to my channel on healing my body and mind through nutrition and exercise. Please hit that subscribe button, like, follow along, and comment. So today's Q&A is it expensive to eat carnivore? I get this question asked all the time. I get DMs because you think to yourself, food in general is expensive, red meat is expensive, and there's just no way that I can eat carnivore with a big family. Well, I am a family of 5 and we managed to do it. So here are a few tips. Eating a carnivore diet does not have to be expensive. And so buy in bulk. Number 1, buy in bulk. I sometimes buy the whole churrasco skirt steak when it's on sale at the grocery store and I cut it up myself. It's going to be cheaper. Instead of buying the ribeye, 2 pieces of ribeye, buy the whole ribeye with the ribeye ribs inside and everything, and cut it yourself. It's going to be cheaper. And I like to use the ribs to make bone broth for my husband because if you've been following along, you know that I have an allergy to bone broth, sadly. But number 2, choose cheaper cuts. You don't always have to eat ribeye, right? So opt for less expensive cuts of meat like ground beef, chicken thighs, pork shoulders, and organ meats. Pork shoulder, I think we bought to do the pulled pork the other day. I think like the 10-pound pulled pork was like less than $30. So that feeds a whole family. We had so much pulled pork left over that I froze it in baggies for later because I personally cannot eat the pulled pork. I also found that I have an intolerance to pulled pork. So you have to see what works for you. But again, lots of ground beef. Ground beef is cheap. You can find ground beef very, very cheap. If you can afford grass-fed, get grass-fed. But if you can't, just get regular ground beef. So you definitely have options out there. I love chicken thighs with the skin on. Please, with the skin on. The skin is the best part. Make it crispy. And you can even buy things like shrimp and things like that you can find depending on the store. They have sales and things like that. So always look for sales. That leads to number 3, shop sales and discounts. Take advantage of sales, discounts, and loyalty programs at your local grocery store. So a lot of grocery stores will have either like a discount program or they will constantly have a weekly little magazine that comes out with their sales. Go on the days that they have sales for meats. Okay. Number 4, local butchers and farmers. Where I'm at, very, very hard. We do have some little butcher shops, but I find that they sometimes are not as cheap as buying it at maybe Aldi's where I go, or at some of our local grocery stores. But if you have farmer, buy directly from local butchers or farmers who often offer best prices for bulk purchases. So those bulk purchases, that is key, especially if you have a local farmer. I am jealous of you. I do not have a local farmer. And so if I do buy from a local farm, I have to have it shipped, cost me a little bit more money. I do want to do that eventually. So if any local farmers are seeing this and want to collaborate, I'd be more than happy to. Number 5, cook at home, right? Super easy, simple tip, right? Obvious. Preparing meals at home is going to save you money than eating out, especially when you are on carnivore. So when we go on a carnivore, there are some places that you may be able to just get the burger patty with cheese and bacon. And then there's places where they don't do that and you still got to get the bread and the side dishes and you're paying for all of this food that you're really not eating on your plate, and it's going to cost you a lot more than just making it at home. And number 6 is utilize beef and bone broth. So make nutritious bone broth from the leftover bones. Like I said, the beef, the ribeye ribs, I do a beef bone broth with it. I just put the whole ribs in my Instapot and I cook it down and the meat just falls off the bone and it's so delicious. So you get to eat the meat and then you also have bone broth, which is very, very healthy for you, and it's economical when you're making it at home. If you try to buy bone broth at the grocery store, you will see that it's very, very expensive. Even beef broth nowadays, not only can it be a little pricier, but it also has all these preservatives and all these additives, and be careful with the added sugars as well. Always look at your ingredients if you are going to buy one that's already made. But I found even making like the ripped meat that I make, the carnita, where I do tacos, I do that in the Instapot as well. And then I use that beef broth And I use that beef broth when I make rice for the kids. I'll add it to that so that they get a little bit of those extra vitamins and nutrients from the beef broth. And or I just drink the beef broth and add some meat in it. Super delicious. So there are ways and economical ways to budget friendly yourself with a carnivore diet. It does not always have to be expensive. You are not buying ribeyes and T-bones and New York strips every single day. Um, if you can afford it, by all means, or you can buy in bulk, like I said, at your local farmers or butcher shop where they may sell you like part of the cow and you can get different cuts of meat, which is also really amazing. And if you're here in Miami, I know a lot of times like Sedano's has sales on the meats where you can have them cut it up differently for you. And so there is always a way. Again, I am a family of 5 and we manage. And again, you have to also remember you're not buying all of the things that you used to buy, right? You're not buying the bags of chips, which a bag of chips is easily like $6 for a small bag of chips. Like put that $6 towards your meat. You're not buying all the vegetables that are also pretty pricey, right? So you're putting that money towards your meat. So at the end of the day, I have not really calculated. I will hear people say that it's cheaper. I don't know that it's cheaper, but I do know that I'm probably spending about the same amount of money because I'm probably buying more meat than I used to, but I'm not buying all of the other stuff that I used to buy. So it kind of almost evens out in my case. And so, no, it's not more expensive. You can actually eat on a budget friendly grocery haul. Okay. And if you want, I did an Aldi grocery haul a while back. You can go check out that video on everything that I bought and the price. And it was a really good deal. So if you have an Aldi's in your area, definitely go check that out. I love Aldi's. I also really love Wild Fork. Wild Fork, the meat already comes frozen, but they have a lot. They have sales sometimes, and they also have a lot of variety. And you can find some cuts of meat that are pretty relatively cheap there as well. So I am not sponsored by any of these people. These are just the places that I go to here where I live. So that's just me sharing where I go. But check out your local grocery stores. Check out if you have a local farmer or butcher. Check those places out. Ask them, what are the prices if you buy in bulk, and find out if it's cheaper than buying at your local grocery store. So there are ways. There are ways to do it. You can do it. Don't give that as an excuse saying that it's too expensive, because it is not. So I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow.